Hello, How Sound Secondary, and welcome back to part 2 of Education Planner BC. Today's focus is how to apply to post-secondary institutions using the website. The first step is setting up your Education Planner BC account, which you can do by hitting the Apply button and signing up here. If you have one, you'll go to log in here. I happen to have mine ready to go. As I sign in, I am brought to the very first page, which is your personal information, and you'll see there's 3 sections right here. You're going to add your name, preferred name, date of birth, and your language. Each section, as you save it, will keep that information. Mailing address, phone number, emergency contact. And then in the academic history, you're going to include any high school or home school that you have been in. So some of you will have been in multiple high schools. You want to list them all here. Most of us, if you are only in How Sound, will only have one entry. Once you've added that, you can include your PEN number, which is your personal education number, found on your MyEd account or on a recent report card. If you don't have this, don't worry. You can move on to the next part. Okay, we're going to start applying. And the first thing we do is scroll down to the institution that we would like to apply to. For our example today, we're going to apply to the University of Victoria. When you get to this page, there are always tutorials on how to help apply, explore program requirements and deadlines again, and also to connect with a recruiter. Each university has a specific person for the Sea to Sky corridor that can be your go-to person to ask questions about every single program that you're thinking of. UVic, their example is right here. You can make a personal appointment by phone, you can communicate by email or FaceTime, and ours, students in a high school in Vancouver Island and Sunshine Coast, is Stephanie Parker. She is fantastic. We'll spend quite a bit of time with guiding you through all kinds of possible scenarios of what you might apply to. And I highly encourage you to reach out to her if you are going to go to UVic. And then in other schools, there's always someone just like her. So back to this page, we're going to start by creating an application. The first step is the program selection. You'll see that it's currently in yellow. What best describes us, we are applying to a degree or diploma certificate program. We are going to be entering into the next full academic intake, which is September 2023. And this is the part where we choose the program we're applying to. Some are by faculty. Some are very particular, so the business commerce program is indicated right at the top, and you'll scroll through to the bottom and you'll see some of the humanities and science and socials programs. They're all by faculty and they're major undeclared. So let's say you wanted to take a major in chemistry and Bachelor of Science. You choose that in your second year, so you'll actually apply to get into the Faculty of Science, major undeclared, and save. You'll go to the additional information, realizing this is now green, and then the additional information asks, what area of science do you think you might be interested in? You're not locked in, you can change your mind. And the great part about doing a first year at university is you get to try a variety of things. But if you know or you have an idea, you can choose that here. And this is when you get to choose your second program choice. So it could be a completely different area of focus. So for example, perhaps I want to also get into computer sciences. I'll put that as my second. This at UVic means that you'll be considered for the second choice if you don't get into your first one. If you want to be considered for both because you like them equally, you can let the university know after you've applied. Moving along, have you used other names legally before? You do need to declare a gender identity. If you prefer not to answer, that can be your answer. Do you identify self-identify as Indigenous? You would indicate that here. Are you a youth in care? UVic is very dedicated to supporting BC youth in care, so additional funding and programs are available. It's very important to let the university know. Do you require academic accommodations because you have a learning, physical or mental disability or challenge that you would like to receive more information? The university will contact you if you indicate you would. The proxy information. This is important if you want someone else to communicate to the university on your behalf at any point. So that might be a parent, a grandparent, or a friend. You do need to indicate that, otherwise the university will not be communicating anything except to you, which is the norm because you are the student applying. You do need to let them know if you don't, and academic history, if you've taken any other post-secondary studies, you have to disclose that here, and you agree to that. And then you read their legal declaration that you filled in to the best of your knowledge, your personal information, and you give the university permission to release some of that information to make decisions on your application. You need to read this in thorough. I have done that. I am going to save my information. Both of these are now green, and I'm ready to review and I'm ready to submit. My application has not been submitted until I've actually paid for it. That's the next step. Your application fee is determined by the school, so each school has a different fee. They're relatively the same cost, unless it's a more specialized program and it can be a little bit more expensive. For one fee, we get 2 choices at most schools. You will need a credit card to pay. If you don't have a credit card, you can contact the University Bursar's office on their website and discuss with them an alternative arrangement because they can make those exceptions for you. Confirming your email and then reading through the consent declarations and agreeing. I have spent quite a bit of time reviewing that already, so I'm ready to make my payment. And I will do that here. Once I do submit that, my application will be completed, meaning that the next step is that I will get a confirmation email. I will get some more details about my next steps, including ordering my transcripts, or releasing my transcripts, and any additional questions the university may ask of me. I want to take a moment to let you know about multiple applications because many of you will be applying for different schools. Any application that's only partway completed will actually show up above the institution choices. So you can see here I've got the University of Victoria. That's because I didn't submit my payment yet. So as soon as I do that, this will actually put completed. I also have my UBC one over here, and the reason is because I got partway through and realized I needed a whole bunch more information and I wasn't quite ready, and that's perfectly acceptable. I can go back in, shows the green parts are completed. I've chosen my programs. So I've chosen Bachelor of Commerce and then Applied Science Engineering. And my yellow part still needs some more information. So the additional information for UBC asks me if I'm applying for a Bachelor of Commerce dual degree. It's a new program that they have. So there's more information here. I'm not, but it wants me to answer my gender identity and the same information that we talked about with the University of Victoria. Have I been a UBC student before? No. English language competency. There are 7 ways to meet the requirement for the university's English language proficiency. And being in a school for 4 years prior to university that's predominantly an English-speaking school is one of the criteria, which most of you will have. If not, you can look at the other criteria that are listed here, and there'll typically be one way or another that you meet that. UBC asks asks if you have written an English proficiency test. For the 99% of you, the answer is no, because this is not your Literacy 12 assessment or an exam that you would have written in high school. This is if you are an English as a second language speaker and you have an additional English test that's more unique that you have written. So it's really important that you say no here, because if you say yes, then they're going to be contacting your guidance counselor and yourself looking for the results from those tests or confirmation that it was made in error. So please make sure you say no at this point. Are you doing any additional course upgrading by April? These are additional courses, not the courses that are currently on your transcripts that they will be able to see already. So this is the part that UBC has that some other schools don't, the personal profile questions. We're going to start to talk a little bit more about that now. So the personal profile is a section of your application where you get to tell the school about things that are important to you, your significant achievements, what you've learned from your experiences and challenges that you've overcome. Your responses will be looked at by a variety of intake academic advisors, and you really will benefit from spending a fair bit of time drafting your answers to these, having people give you feedback and review them. And there's a video that's attached here, and it's also on the UBC undergraduate admissions site, profile questions. It gives you kind of a guidance on how to write these. The Bachelor of Commerce has an additional 2 questions on top of the 3 main ones that every student applying to UBC will have. So those ones are listed first here. The Bachelor of Commerce also has a video interview, which is 60 seconds in duration, that you get a chance to learn more about by email once they contact you. You also have questions that are available for all applicants. So everybody has the same 3 questions. Tell us about who you are. How would your family and friends or members of your community describe you? And include something about yourself that you're most proud of and why. The characters are very important to adhere to. They will not allow anything longer than what's indicated here. So it takes a bit of time to write a really effective answer, a meaningful answer. The other questions are listed here as well. It wants you to list your activities and accomplishments, activity 5 of them, and then it tells us 1 or 2 of those activities that are most important to you. Please describe them, a maximum of 2,100 characters. If you have anything that you want UBC to know about your academic history, if there was a course that you tried, you didn't do as well on for a certain reason, you can explain that here. The university wants to see that you've made a great attempt to try as best you can in a variety of courses, so don't be shy about having a course that maybe wasn't, maybe the best reflection of what you thought you could do, but you tried it, so explain that. The reference, you are not required to send any letters of reference for most schools. The schools themselves will ask for a referee, so your referee might be a sports coach, teacher, an employer, your boss, somebody who knows you well, someone not in your family. You have 2 that are required here. You're just going to give your name, the relationship, and their contact information. The schools will sometimes reach out to those referees, and sometimes they may not, but they have to be, and it's a good idea for you to give those referees a heads up that they're going to be contacted and ask their permission. Presidential scholarship awards, specific to the program you're applying to, they will ask you information here if you're going to be applying for them. And then if there's any other additional information you want to include in your application to UBC. There is a section on on-campus housing. Usually after you apply, you'll get a lot of emails giving you the next steps on what to do with housing. Housing can be a real challenge. It's recommended, UBC will recommend that you apply to housing as soon as possible, and the same with UVic. And the deadlines will be emailed to you. Typically they're May 1st to make sure you apply, but do apply as soon as you can. And then once you have all of this information, you can save it. I have a lot that I haven't finished here, so it's probably not going to let me move forward, which is why my UBC is still just saved as an in-progress application. Take your time to write your answers for your profile questions in a Google document or a Word document that you can then copy and then paste into your UBC file. And one final bit of advice, after you've applied, you'll see a section called Submitted Applications, and it will list all of the successful applications you've applied to. And following this, you're going to be getting a lot of emails, so do check your account regularly, your emails. Most schools are then going to prompt you to set up a specific university account. They're going to give you a student number, and then you will now have to follow their specific account, and that's where you're going to get information about submitting your grades through transcript services or self-reporting your grades and the time frames. This was a brief overview of how to apply. Your guidance counselors are here if you have more specific questions. Your academic advisor at each school is available to talk to you, and you also have access to your CLC 12 teacher that can hopefully guide you in your application process as well. Please do reach out. We're here for you. Thank you.